Good evening. Welcome to Reading Things with a Southern Accent, 2020, episode number 58. We are inching closer and closer to the number 60. It's a big deal because the first time I did this, oh my goodness, where's the end of this? First time I did this, I got to episode 23. And I was living alone, for the most part, in Philadelphia after my wife and child left me temporarily and moved to Colorado before I did. We only made it to episode 23. So this says that my abandonment in the city of Philadelphia was less impactful than a pandemic, which I guess that makes sense, doesn't it? But that was 6 months. I did 6 months solo. This has only been 3 at this point. It's May. We started March 16th. I said March. Douglas! Hello, Douglas. How are you, sir? There's a hurricane, tropical storm, hurricane hurtling towards the Gulf Coast. We have civil unrest and riots and injustice. We have a pandemic. We have murder hornets. What else? I said that. Oh, and there were tornadoes. There were tornadoes in Florida. A friend of ours, me and the producer, she's with me tonight. His name is Sean Mitchell. He lives south of Tampa, near like Naples or Venice or wherever in Florida, Venice Beach. They had tornadoes down there. There were ridiculous storms in Philadelphia today. I'm not sure if the apocalypse is coming or not. What? Jason Cannon. Proud of you, buddy. You made it. Put the kids to bed. So things are a little nutty right now. So hopefully you're okay where you are, because there's a lot going on. Not to mention all the politics that I don't generally get into. But I'm thinking about a documentary. I'm getting that from the producer. Anyhow, hi, producer. All right, so tonight, I know it was short notice and I was late. We're not going to do it tomorrow probably because I have to shoot all day. I think Friday we'll give it a shot. You think? I think Friday we're going to give it a shot. Tomorrow I have to shoot starting at 8 o'clock, and it's probably going to go all day. And that means I have to take down all of this stuff and take it with me somewhere, and then come back and set it all back up. Who's here? Is it summer there yet? You need like a summer coat. Trust me. We don't have air conditioning, Jason Cannon, because generally we don't need it. But I close all the windows in this room when I do this because my neighbors like to play reggae music and sit outside with their cars idling, and there's barking dogs and there's screaming kids. So I lock this up for the show, and it is toasty because we paid extra to insulate this room better than anything in my house, because in the wintertime it gets very cold, and when I turn the heat on, all I got to do is turn on the heat for like an hour in the morning, and I'm solid all day. However, in the summertime it's quite toasty, so I can't open up the doors of the windows right now. I got a lot to read. Oh, producer says I got a lot to read. Here's what we're doing tonight. Tonight we're wrapping up Pride and Prejudice. I have been given 3 selections by the producer to wrap up the story between Elizabeth Bennett and Mr. Darcy. Pride and Prejudice was published in 1813, written by Jane Austen, who died in 1817. So that's interesting. This was written 4 years before she died. This is the first time I put that together.
It was her third.
It was her third of 7 books? Huh. Little Jane Austen trivia. She was born a month overdue. Her father wrote of her arrival in a letter that her mother certainly expected to have been brought to bed a month ago. Who?
Your daughter.
My daughter what?
She asked you a question.
She's not on here.
No, she's on your text.
I'm not answering here. She needs to understand. All right, Pride and Prejudice. Where do I start here, kiddo?
1.
What? Oh, you marked it. She's so smart. This is the 105 proof, high proof Breckenridge bourbon that I got last week. I have had higher proof bourbons, but this one, it gets me every time. I don't know why. Here we go. You look conscious. Young ladies have a great penetration in such matters as these, but I think I may defy even your sagacity to discover the name of your admirer. This letter is from Mr. Collins. From Mr. Collins? And what can he have to say? Something very much to the purpose, of course. He begins with congratulations on the approaching nuptials of my eldest daughter, of which it seems he has been told by some of the good-natured, gossiping Lucases. I shall not sport with your impatience by reading what he says on that point. What relates to yourself is as follows. Having thus offered you the sincere congratulations of Mrs. Collins and myself on this happy event, let me now add a short hint on the subject of another, of which we have been advertised by the same authority. Your daughter, Elizabeth, it is presumed, will not long bear the name of Bennett after her elder sister has resigned it, and the chosen partner of her fate may be reasonably looked up to as one of the most illustrious personages in this land. What? Is good. Okay. Can you possibly guess, Lizzie, who is meant by this? This young gentleman is believed in a peculiar way with everything the heart of mortal can most desire. Splendid property, noble kindred, and extensive patronage. Yet, in spite of all these temptations, let me warn my cousin Elizabeth and yourself of what evils you may incur by the precipitate closure with this gentleman's purpose. With this gentleman's proposals, which of course you will be inclined to take immediate advantage of. So, setting the stage there. The point is if you're proposed to, you say yes. I believe that is what she is saying. And that's in Emma? That is Emma. I don't know. Oh, right. It's on the front of the book. Got it. We read that yesterday. So, 1813. Have you any idea, Lizzie, who this gentleman is? But now it comes out. My motive for cautioning you is as follows. We have reason to imagine that his auntie, I don't know, his aunt, Lady Catherine de Bourgh, does not look on the match with a friendly eye. Mr. Darcy, you see, is the man. Now, Lizzie, I think I have surprised you. Could he or the Lucases have pitched on any man within the circle of our acquaintance whose name would have given the lie more effectually to what they related? Mr. Darcy, who never looks at any woman but to see a blemish, and who probably never looked at you in his life, it is admirable. It is admirable. That's better for son. Admirable, not admirable. Admirable. Elizabeth tried to join in her father's pleasantry, but could only force one most reluctant smile. Never had his wit been directed in a manner so little agreeable to her. Are you not diverted? Oh, yes. Pray, read on. After mentioning the likelihood of this marriage to her ladyship last night, she immediately, with her usual condescension, The producer got a kick out of that one. Condensation is stuff that, it's water, it's like humidity. Condescension is like when you're condescending. Express what she felt on the occasion. What it became apparent that on the score of some family objections on the part of my cousin, she would never give her consent to what she termed so disgraceful a match. I thought it my duty to give the speediest intelligence of this to my cousin, that she and her noble admirer may be aware of what they are about and not run hastily into a marriage which has not been properly sanctioned. Mr. Collins, moreover, adds, I am truly rejoiced that my cousin Lydia's sad business has been so well hushed up, and am only concerned that their living together before marriage took place should be so generally known. The shame. I must not, however, neglect the duties of my station or refrain from declaring my amazement at hearing that you received the young couple into your house as soon as they were married. It was an encouragement of vice, and had I been the rector of Longbourn, I should very strenuously have opposed it. That is section number 1 of our reading tonight. Here we go with section. Oh wait, what is this mark here? That's a mistake, right? Okay, we're starting here. Thank you. We are now in chapter 58. Chapter 58. Here we go. Mr. Darcy, I am a very selfish creature, and for the sake of giving relief to my own feelings, care not how much I may be wounding yours. I can no longer help thanking you for your unexampled kindness to my poor sister. Ever since I have known it, I have been most anxious to acknowledge to you how gratefully I feel it. Were it known to the rest of my family, I should not have merely my own gratitude to express. I am sorry, exceedingly sorry, replied Darcy in a tone of surprise and emotion, that you have ever been informed of what may, in a mistaken light, have given you uneasiness. I did not think Mrs. Gardiner was so little to be trusted. Seems a little snarky. Right, and here we go. Wrapping it up. Here's the final bit. Excuse me. In the evening, soon after Mr. Bennett withdrew to the library, she saw Mr. Darcy She saw Mr. Darcy rise also and follow him. And her agitation on seeing it was extreme. She did not fear her father's opposition, but he was going to be made unhappy, and that it should be through her means that she, his favorite child, should be distressing him by her choice, should be filling him with fears and regrets in disposing of her, was a wretched reflection, and she sat in misery till Mr. Darcy appeared again, when, looking at him, she was a little relieved by his smile. In a few minutes, he approached the table where she was sitting with Kitty, and while pretending to admire her work, she said in a whisper, "Go to your father. Father. He wants you in the library." She was gone directly. Her father was walking about the room, looking grave and anxious. "Lizzie," said he, "what are you doing? Are you out of your senses to be accepting this man? Have you not always hated him?" How earnestly did she then wish that her former opinions had been more reasonable, her expressions more moderate. It would have spared her from explanations and professions which it was exceedingly awkward to give, but they were now necessary, and she assured him with some confusion of her attachment to Mr. Darcy. And that's it. That's where we're going to wrap up Pride and Prejudice during this Jane Austen stint here on reading things with a Southern accent. Does that mean that they ended up getting married? Yes. Well, her attachment to Mr. Darcy, she assured him. I saw that.
Dad was thinking, do you hate him? I fucking hate him.
I understand that. As a father, I've had these conversations. Interesting.
We were just friends.
More whiskey. That's possible. I got a little bit left. So here we go. We're going to skip tomorrow. Thank you for tuning in tonight. And we're going to jump into Emma. Emma? Scotty Patterson. How's it going? Here we go. Over here. Emma. You can see it shiny over there. Emma is our next reading here in Jane Austen. We'll do a week or so with Emma. Last night when we wrapped up, the producer suggested Sherlock Holmes. So that might be our next foray into another reading. Unless somebody out there has a fantastical idea that they would like to share, please do. Janelle is excited about Emma or Sherlock Holmes. Corner Red House kids. I do like that my friends from the South tune in. It is very happy. Scotty, I think you're somewhere in Florida. Dave Kinnaird! I used to do this in Dave Kinnaird's house. I did it like twice from the Lavender Room in a house that he no longer lives in Mount Airy, Philadelphia. What? Okay. Dave Kinnaird. So when I did this before, when my wife left me and abandoned me temporarily, I moved in with Dave Kinnaird and his wife Rachel. This is before they had any children. And we hung out for 6 months, and I lived in their house. And I recorded some of these in the Lavender Room right there on Philhelena Street. I remember that, Dave, on Philhelena Street in Philadelphia with Mackay, my buddy Mackay. Dave taught me the appreciation of a homemade cocktail and smoking cigars on the back porch. Oops. So, glad that you are here, sir. That is going to wrap it up for me. Huh? Doug has an idea. What is the idea, Doug? Owner's manual. I like it. When I first did this, I did do things I got in the mail. So that was fun. We could do some owner's manuals. I got some of those laying around, mostly for cameras. We probably have some appliance owner's manuals. We have a new one coming. All right, so we're going to skip tomorrow because I got work to do, legitimate paying work to do. We're going to try to come back Friday because I can edit all day on Friday and be ready to go because I got to tear all this stuff down for stuff that I'm doing tomorrow. Anything else? Shop local. Stores are opening up. If you live in Colorado, even if you don't live in Colorado, don't go to big box stores. Go to your local stores. Local businesses need your dollars. Target will survive. Local businesses, they need your help. If you live locally, go to the Wandering Daisy. If you live locally, go to Affordable Music in Dillon, underneath Pug Ryan's over there, and buy some records from Gary. Gary's a great guy. I'm sure Gary could use the money. Beowulf.
I love it.
Tolkien, Beowulf. Tim Reed. You're trying to trip me up, Tim Reed. I'm on to you. That could be complicated. I've never read that.
Did you not? You were never in 10th grade. 11?
I only went to part of 10th grade. This is a whole nother story. Emma, we start Emma on Friday. My name is Murph. Thank you for tuning in. Please support your local businesses. Please be kind to your loved ones. Be kind to strangers. Be kind to normal people everywhere. Huh? Be kind to the freaks, the producer said. That's kind of judgmental, though, by calling them freaks.
You said the normal people.
She's identifies with the freaks, so that's why. Thanks for watching. And as always, we wrap this up with a little PSA. Please wash your hands. The COVID is not over. Just because the news has shifted, that doesn't mean the COVID is over. We had multiple new cases on Tuesday here in Summit County, right? Like 3 new cases. So the COVID is not over. Wash your hands. Wear a mask. Good night.